It was the first time I'd seen my family in 3 years, and the moment I stepped through the door, I remembered why I left. "Look who finally decided to show up," Zane muttered, barely glancing up from his glass of scotch. Maya smiled with her lips, but not her eyes. "We weren't sure if you'd even remember the address." I ignored the bait and set my coat down, taking the same pristine holiday decor my mother used to obsess over. Except now, Maya ran this house like it was a showroom. Leo gave me a quick hug, smelling faintly of weed and leather. "Ava, damn, you look good." He meant it. I could tell. Zane rolled his eyes, muttering something about attention-seeking. Dinner was already tense. The table was a theater of passive-aggressive commentary. Maya talked about her luxury candle line. Zane launched into a monologue about his promotion at the firm, a story I'm certain I've heard before, twice. Every time I spoke, they glanced at each other like my words were background noise. No one asked what I did for work. No one cared. Zane finally decided to say what they were all thinking. "We had a family meeting a few months ago. About the trust. Thought we should let you know while you're here." Maya folded her napkin a little too neatly. "It's just a matter of alignment. Everyone needs to contribute. You've been distant." I stared at them. "So I'm out." Zane nodded like he was offering me a favor. "It's nothing personal. You've got your lifestyle. No hard feelings." I smiled. "None taken." Leo tried to cut in, maybe out of guilt, maybe boredom. "You've always been the mystery, Ava. Some secret spy thing you got going on." That drew a chuckle from Maya. "Right. Maybe she's running a crime syndicate from her apartment." I laughed too, but not for the reason they thought. They believed the narrative they built. Ava, the failed artist, the queer disappointment, the burnout who cut ties after the Sienna breakup, the girl who vanished and resurfaced without warning. They thought disowning me would sting. What they didn't know was that I had already disowned them years ago. I was just here to watch the performance one last time. Sienna's name hadn't come up, but I saw the flicker in Zane's eyes when I mentioned the city she'd moved to. Maya flinched when I mentioned a boutique downtown. Leo got quiet when I said, "I still keep in touch with some old friends." They thought I was bluffing. They always underestimated me. That was their first mistake. I sipped my wine slowly, smiling when Zane joked about being the pillar of the family now. He was trying to provoke me. He always had. He used to love making me small in front of others, especially when we were teens. Back then, he'd dig into me with comments about my phases and failed dreams. And yet here he was, living in a house bought by his wife's influencer deals, and cheating on her with someone I knew very well. I looked around the table. They didn't see it, but I had already collected every dirty secret. Financial records, surveillance clips, private texts, things they assumed were buried. They tried to disown me tonight, but that was just formality. They never owned me to begin with, so I let them feel smug. I let Zane toast to a new chapter. I let Maya gloat. I even let Leo make a few flirty jokes that I pretended not to hear. Because the truth is, Christmas was never about family. Not anymore. This year it's about closure. Or more accurately, control. Zane once called me irrelevant. Said I'd be forgotten before 30. I was 28 when I launched my first anonymous content platform. It started with photos, nothing explicit. Artful, masked, mysterious. People paid. Then came requests. I leaned in. By the time they erased me from the family trust, I had made triple what that inheritance would have given me. They thought I was broke. Thought I'd disappear in shame. But shame stopped bothering me the day I found out my brother was screwing my ex-girlfriend behind his wife's back. It started with a ping. An alert from one of my surveillance streams. Zane in a hotel suite, not with a client. With Sienna. Her laugh was unmistakable. I hadn't heard it in over a year. He was shirtless. She wore the gold necklace I gave her on our 2-year anniversary. I saved the footage. 2 weeks later, Maya showed up on my other feed. This time in a condo I bought under a shell name. My business partner, Lacey, had a thing for married women. I warned her. She didn't listen. Maya was bold. She brought her designer heels and wore Lacey's robe like she owned it. I saved that footage too. Leo was a wild card. I didn't expect to catch him in anything serious. But then the texts started appearing. Late-night messages between him and Zane. Then Maya. I didn't even have to hack their phones. They synced their cloud storage like amateurs. Careless, arrogant, entitled. They trusted their secrets were safe because they thought the only one who could hurt them was irrelevant. I cataloged everything, messages, timestamps, bank transfers, even the burner accounts. Leo had one link to an adult subscription site. Maya's name showed up on a PayPal receipt for a hotel room registered under a fake alias. Sienna sent selfies to Zane using the same filter she used for our old couple posts. They thought these things lived in the shadows. But I was the shadow, and they mocked me at dinner, thought I was drifting, aimless. The irony is, while they tangled themselves in each other's lies, I built an empire fueled by secrets just like theirs. My content site evolved. I started offering discreet tracking services for private clients. Surveillance, loyalty testing, digital forensics. Legal? Mostly. Profitable? Insanely. That's how I found everything I needed, without even leaving my condo. They thought I stayed silent because I had nothing to say. Truth is, I was just giving them time to stack the betrayal tall enough to collapse on its own. Sienna was the first cut that taught me how deep people could hide things. She told me she needed space, that she couldn't be with someone who didn't want the same things. A week later, she was already talking to Zane. I only found out because of a tag location slip on his Instagram story. She was wearing my hoodie in the background. The audacity! They thought I'd crumble when they turned their backs. But I turned their secrets into my foundation. Every click, every view, every betrayal recorded and monetized. Zane, the family hero, sleeping with 2 people outside his marriage. Maya, the perfect wife, cheating in luxury hotel rooms and still posting couple selfies. Leo, the wild card trying to play both sides. And Sienna, so good at pretending she never looked back. Yet every month, she scrolled through my anonymous pages. I tracked the IP. They all forgot who I was. But I never forgot who they were. And that difference was the beginning of my revenge. Not loud, not immediate, but surgical. Let them laugh. Let them believe I'm the ghost of the family, a nobody in the shadows. They'll understand soon enough. I never left the table. I just came back to flip it. Zane always underestimated me. But that night, something in his eyes shifted. He kept watching me like he couldn't decide if I was a threat or a ghost. That's how I knew the tension was working. I didn't have to say much. Just a few surgical questions. Maya, how's the downtown condo project going? She blinked twice, stiffened. Zane's jaw twitched. Leo choked on his drink. That was the first ripple. They didn't know I'd installed proximity trackers weeks ago. One in Zane's briefcase, one in Maya's favorite clutch, and a subtle one on Leo's keychain. Slipped on during a hug at a party. It wasn't hard. People ignore the details when they think you're harmless. I walked the halls like I was reminiscing, but I was checking locations, confirming routes, adjusting signal strength for my feed. Earlier that afternoon, I planted 2 small USB sticks around the house. One in the piano, another behind the TV stand. Each loaded with a backup of my evidence cache. Videos, audio recordings, metadata trails. The originals were already secure, but these were a failsafe. Redundancy is power. Maya came to find me in the hallway after dessert. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "You've been quiet," she said, voice soft. "Calculated. That's not like you." I looked at her and said, "I've been listening. That's more useful than talking." She asked if I was seeing anyone. Casual, probing. I said I wasn't interested in repeating old mistakes. She didn't flinch, but her hands tightened on her wine glass. Lacey's perfume lingered faintly on her coat. That was all the answer I needed. Leo wandered over next, nervous energy wrapped in charm. He offered me a drink and mentioned a party he thought I'd like. I asked if Zane would be there. That shut him up. He changed the subject to music and complimented my taste in old jazz. Still into the mysterious stuff, huh? Some things stay timeless. I asked him how things were going with Maya. He froze for half a beat, then shrugged. We're close, I guess. She's cool. I smiled. Yeah, very cool. She has great taste in robes. He stared at me for 2 full seconds before giving me a forced grin. You're different, Ava. No, I was just prepared. They were spiraling, and I hadn't even said anything real yet. Just breadcrumbs. Tiny pieces of truth wrapped in questions. I didn't need to push. I just needed to wait. Like watching a match crawl toward gasoline. Sienna hadn't said much all evening, but I caught her watching me. When we finally spoke, it was just the two of us by the upstairs hallway window. You're not mad, she asked. Should I be? She hesitated. You always disappear when things get messy. That's rich coming from you. She swallowed hard. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why did you? Silence. Then I made mistakes. I didn't argue. I didn't need closure. She looked at me like she wanted forgiveness. But I wasn't there to hand out redemption. I'd built my peace without her. She asked if I missed her. I looked her in the eyes and said, I miss not knowing what you were capable of. When I walked away, she didn't follow. Downstairs, I checked the signal on my phone. The hidden camera was running perfectly. Everything was recording. Every conversation. Every glance. Every nervous twitch. It would all serve a purpose soon. This wasn't about chaos. It was about precision. They had spent years pretending I was irrelevant. But the irony was that I had become the only person in the room who actually knew what was happening. They were all actors. I was a director. And the third act was just beginning. Zane raised his glass like he was the king of something. To family, he said, and everyone followed, pretending this was a room full of liars. I let him have his moment. He deserved to feel important. For 10 more minutes. I tapped my spoon gently against the glass. I'd like to say something, too, I said, voice calm. The room quieted. Since I won't be around much longer, it feels right to share some memories. Or maybe a few truths. Zane smirked. Always dramatic. I looked at Maya first. Remember that boutique in the Pearl District? The one that sells candles and herbal bath kits. She nodded, unsure. Funny thing, they have rooms upstairs. Hourly rentals. You used to visit on Wednesdays. Sometimes Fridays. With Lacey. Her face drained. I continued. She left her robe once. The one with the red sash. I didn't say anything then. I am now. Zane blinked twice, processing. What the hell are you talking about? Maya snapped. She's bluffing. Am I? I pulled my phone out, tapped the screen. A speaker crackled. Then played soft audio, Maya's voice unmistakable. Laughter, whispers, kisses. Lacey saying her name. Leo dropped his fork. I turned next. Leo, you've been busy too, huh? Maya wasn't your only secret. Zane's gym visits got extra sweaty. Bullshit, Zane hissed. I tapped again. Text projected to the TV screen via my casting device. A stream of messages. Zane to Leo, time-stamped. Flirtation, innuendo, meeting points. One with a photo. Zane shirtless in a locker room mirror. Maya stood up. You're disgusting, she spat at Zane. You told me you were working late. He shouted back. You cheated first. They were unraveling. Voices raised, forks clattered. I watched in silence until they remembered I was still standing. I'm not finished, I said. Then I turned to Sienna. You really thought I wouldn't notice the necklace? She didn't speak. I saw the hotel footage. I saw your texts. You wore my jewelry while sleeping with my brother. That's a special kind of pathetic. Zane slammed his glass down. You had us followed? Recorded. No, I said. I had you watched. You were never smart enough to cover your tracks. Leo stood, face flushed. Why are you doing this? I looked at him evenly. Because you all thought I was beneath you. You talked about cutting me off like I was a stain on your perfect lives. But you forgot. I've been 10 steps ahead the whole time. I walked over to the fireplace and pulled a small envelope from beneath the mantel, tossed it on the table. Inside, copies of everything. Not sent anywhere yet. Zane shouted. You think this makes you better? No, it makes me free. Maya grabbed the envelope. tore it open, read the contents, and looked sick. You'd ruin your family? You did that on your own. I turned to Sienna one last time. You had me. Then you threw me away. So now I'm returning the favor. No one spoke. I was disowned the moment I chose not to be like you, I said. But I made peace with that. You're the one still clinging to lies. I picked up my coat and smiled. Merry Christmas. And walked out. I didn't look back as I left. The chaos behind me wasn't mine to manage anymore. That was the beauty of the whole thing. It would unfold on its own. Every word, every secret, every betrayal had been placed like dominoes. All I had to do was give him a reason to tip. By the time I got home, my inbox was already filling with unread messages. Maya sent 6. The first was angry. The rest were quieter, then desperate. Leo tried calling twice, then switched to vague, pleading texts. Zane didn't message at all. Classic move. Pride before panic. I opened my laptop and accessed the client portal of my private platform. I'd scheduled the content to release to a controlled audience. Just enough reach to create fear, but not enough to create damage. Yet, a teaser. Clips blurred for now. Voices filtered. Names obscured. But the people involved would recognize themselves. That's the point. The views started climbing within minutes. A few dozen, then 100. Then private DMs started rolling in. Some from users connecting the dots, others asking if there be more. And there would be, unless I chose otherwise. Control wasn't about exposure. It was about the option, the leverage. I'd made myself into the one thing none of them could manipulate. Unpredictable. A week passed. Leo showed up at my door unannounced. His smile was thin, his eyes tired. Can we talk? I don't do unplanned visits, I said. He stepped back, hands up. Look, I just want to understand. Was any of it real? I tilted my head. You mean the part where I watched you lie to my face for years? Or the part where you pretended to care every time it was convenient? He winced. I didn't mean to get pulled into it. It just happened. Cheating isn't gravity, Leo. It doesn't just happen. You climbed in bed with your brother and your sister-in-law, like it was a joke. I messed up, but this scorcher thing, it doesn't make you better. I stepped forward, voice low. It makes me free. You wanted to erase me from the family, and now you get to live in a version of it that exists without my silence. He had nothing left to say. Later that night, Maya called. She cried, blamed Zane, blamed herself, asked if I'd take it all down. I haven't posted anything personal, I said. Not yet. You're blackmailing us. I'm giving you a taste of the helplessness you built your world on. What do you want? I already have it. Sienna never reached out. Not directly. But her account appeared in the viewer list. 3 nights in a row. Watching. Rewatching. She saw herself in the shadows, just like I had when she first left me for someone with a matching last name. They wanted to cut me out because I didn't fit their image. But I turned the parts they hated into currency, into clarity. And now they sit in the glass house they built, waiting for the next stone. I didn't need them to suffer forever. That wasn't the point. The point was they finally saw me. Not the version they made up, not the failure they pitted, but the architect of their reckoning. The one who waited, planned, and executed without raising her voice. This wasn't revenge for pain. This was revenge for being erased. And I didn't need to destroy them. I just needed them to know I could